The big dating question of the day is, am I being too fussy? I'm sure we've all been in that boat, right? Where a work colleague, a friend, a loved one has said to us, the reason you're single is because you're too damn fussy. All right, I'm sure we've all been there. And what does that even mean? Does that mean like you need to start dating everyone and just see what happens? Now, in my opinion, no. I think it's completely okay to have preferences. We all have them, in fact. But I think sometimes they get kind of skewed and flipped on its head. Let me explain. See, for me, our preferences come in 3 tiers. The first of which is values, finding someone who shares the same values as us. The second tier is commonalities, finding things that you share in common that you enjoy doing, whether it's, you're a foodie, you're a gym goer, you're a traveler, this, that, the other, and you share those things in common. The last one is the aesthetics, the things we're looking for in a partner that we happen to find physically attractive, whether it's height, certain body type, certain hair type, white teeth, whatever it might be. We all have those preferences and they're completely okay. The time that we often get branded with we're being too fussy is perhaps we flip them on their head and we're looking for the aesthetics over and above the values. And I think this is where we can potentially go wrong. So it's important to understand that the most important thing in a relationship, in any relationship, is always going to be, do we share similar values? And it doesn't mean that you necessarily agree on everything. That's not what I'm talking about. It means that you do share values, that it is that, I give people the example of me and my wife. We have certain spiritual beliefs. She uses her lexicons, I use mine. But we're both very aligned in what we believe, even though we don't necessarily agree in the terminology. We know what it means to be a good human being. So we don't necessarily agree on everything, but we're very much aligned in our spiritual values. And so that connected us from day one. Then we realized we had certain other things in common, that we enjoyed eating. We're both vegetarian and, vegan and whatever else. And, we enjoyed doing certain activities, enjoyed watching the same kind of shows and things like that. And so because of that enabled us to connect even further. And then lastly, we did have a good look at each other. Do I find this person attractive? And the answer was yes, but that came last on our list. And so it's important to understand and realize that sometimes we can get too fussy about the things which are not really going to be important, in the latter stages of a relationship and at the key moments when it really matters. When you're going through a battle with your partner, a fight, you're not going to be worrying about what they look like and am I still attracted to them? No, what's going to solve those challenges you're going to face as a couple are the values and, how you connect and communicate. So the question is, are you being too fussy? It could be, and maybe because you flipped everything on its head. So it's time to flip it back around. Start looking at the values, then the commonalities, then the aesthetics. And then you can start to truly meet someone and get to know someone on the right level. Now, I just want to emphasize, it's perfectly okay to have preferences. That doesn't mean that you have to then just date any Tom, Dick or Harry or Julie, Suzanne and Sarah that comes along. Of course not. But I think it's okay to give people a chance. And there's something fundamental to remember as well. In fact, the most successful relationships are not necessarily the ones where people had a spark at the first moment, but the ones who built a spark together. By finding things in common, by creating things in common, and by connecting on a soul-to-soul level. And that built a spark over time, build a fire that kind of continues to burn. But those who are looking for the spark at the first date, it's like a match. It will burn out as quickly as it's been lit. And so it's important to remember that just because you meet someone and you don't feel a spark instantaneously, doesn't necessarily mean that they're not the one for you. You need to give it time. So go on that first date, that second date, that third date, see what happens. And if nothing happens after that, there's no change in feeling or anything like that, then fair enough. But it's so important to make sure that you flip those things on their head. Values, commonalities, and then aesthetics last. But if you're doing it the other way, then yes, you've become a little bit too fussy and it's time to flip them around. I'm Amit. Thank you for watching.